I knew it was related to a city, so I tried to pick, I thought of like Stonehenge because I was trying to balance like something that's really, really old with something's new because it's a little boy, like a muscular little boy. So it's kind of like the idea of like, you know, what's genetic memory and what's, you know, us writing stuff down and remembering how to do stuff. And obviously we don't know how they did that or who did that or, you know, so I thought that was kind of interesting. And also it kind of looks like, Stonehenge kind of looks like little kids' blocks. So I thought that might play into it too. You know, I have like 100 characters, right? And each one tells like a different story or means something else to me, so that way I can almost use them, you know, as kind of a dialogue. So like with the Temper Tot, the idea came when I had little kids, and you know, you have the terrible toots, they call that for a reason. And you know, as a parent, you're terrified of this little kid because, you know, they scream and you cringe, and you have to keep reminding yourself they're only like, you know, 2 foot tall or 3 foot tall, and they're, you know, you're bigger than them. So I wanted to make something that kind of represented, you know, what it feels like to be a parent and have a little Temper Tot. So I created that character, and I kind of made him powerful like the Hulk. And actually what ended up happening with that character is little kids went crazy for him because they didn't see it as, they saw it like from the other direction where, you know, when they're experiencing the world, you know, they have to scream to get your attention, but you can literally walk into a room and just, you know, a kid can be playing, you just pick them up, right? They're little, you pick them up. But I mean, from their point of view, they're just having a good time, and suddenly they can be swept away, you know, picked up out of their environment just by some big thing, taken away like against their will. So they really don't have a lot of control over any situation except, you know, by using their temper. But when they see the little boy with the big muscles, you know, they'd actually squeal. But it means a lot to them. But how I usually use it in my art is about, it usually is representing power, immature power, kind of like something that's more powerful than it is mature. Some people understand what I'm saying, and some people have a different interpretation, and they come at it, you know, something completely different. Like I did a sculpture really recently, and it's like of the human brain, but the human brain has a weird little thumb like that, and it looks just like a boxing glove. So I made it into a boxing glove, you know, by adding, you know, the extra part of the boxing glove on it. So it's kind of a sculpture, you know, that I released as a limited edition sculpture, so a lot of people got it. And the idea behind it was about getting brain damage from boxing, you know. And what people took away from that toy was they thought this is about your brawn is your brain. And it's about thinking your way through problems and solving problems with your mind, not with your, you know, physicality. So, you know, so that it went into the world with a different interpretation attached that was not mine. But, you know, that's what happens. I mean, art's kind of a dialogue, you know. You put out stuff and you learn stuff from the, you know, that you didn't understand from the stuff you put out there. It's a weird thing. Some people just go have their thing, and it's actually quite easy if you have the thing you do. And then some people go in and just respond, you know, to the situation. Usually I try to do both. It's kind of difficult, you know, and it's weird. Like the hardest thing is, like if somebody says, I want you to come paint a wall somewhere, and I say, well, could you take a picture of that wall at 5 o'clock? I mean, you're willing to have me fly out and do all this work, and they'll never send you a picture of it at 5 o'clock. They're like, well, you don't really have a camera, and blah, blah. It's like, the reason I wanted a picture of it at 5 o'clock is to see what all the shadows look like and create something that would kind of blend more into the environment. But sometimes, like, I'll come in and, like, I'll do the part, you know, maybe with a Temper Tot or something, but then, like, some tree will be casting shadows. So, like, I'll work on the Temper Tot, and then every hour I'll kind of trace in the tree shadow with like a pattern, and then it'll move, and then it'll move, and then it'll move. So half is just me imposing something on the situation, and the other half is playing with what's actually going on there. I was really excited that Trompe l'oeil is a big part of this show, because that's kind of how I started, like in the 70s, was doing trompe l'oeil art, and where you make things reverse perspective and then they seem like they're popping up out of nowhere and stuff. So like I would go around and like I would do billboards, and that was kind of my thing. So I'd go to where the billboard was at, I would take a picture of everything behind the billboard, and then I would paint that on the billboard, so it looked like you get to see right through the billboard, like if you stood at the right spot. But I played around with a lot of stuff like that, and I think that's something that's a real crowd pleaser. People like that, and it's also, you have to be there to kind of experience it the right way. And like behind where I'm painting now, somebody did a really brilliant trompe l'oeil piece, and every time I get off of the lift, I'm startled that there's somebody behind me, and I have to keep reminding myself every time that there's nobody there. It's fake, but it just, from like out of the corner of your eye, it looks like the guys there making a painting. It's weird. But I mean, that's a great experience art can give you, is kind of throwing you off, and then you have to kind of reevaluate everything around you very quickly.